Alright guys, this will be our first ELA lesson. So what we're going to use this year is a textbook that's called Springboard. And what Springboard is going to be, it's going to be set up into 4 units. The first unit is going to deal with narrative. The second unit is going to deal with informational text, explanatory, expository. The third unit is going to deal with argument. And the fourth unit has some poetry and some Shakespeare in it. So hopefully, depending on this crazy year, hopefully we'll be able to get through all 4 units. But this first unit we're going to study is going to be on narrative, which is going to be either both fiction and nonfiction. Like this first story is a true story. It's a story about, if you look at the top, this is how it's always going to be set up. If you look, it says activity 1.2, so that's unit 1, activity 2. 1.1 was just some introduction stuff that we might come back to later if we need to, but I think it should be fine. And what you're going to do, I'll teach you how to, hopefully you have downloaded this assignment from the files, and it's also will be in the assignment section. Download it so you can make it your own, and then you will read the story first. This is my favorite part here, that he is from Tlaquepaque, Mexico. It's a fun word to say. I've actually been there before, so that's how I know how to say it. So this is a short story called The Circuit by Francisco Jimenez. Okay, so you'll read the story. As some of these text boxes over here you can write in, like this one is weird and it makes giant letters, so don't worry about that one. But if you scroll down a little bit more, this one does regular letters. So I had to make all these, so some of the formatting was a little weird, so I apologize. It'll get better. For some reason this first unit, some of them didn't work like I expected them to. But, so you'll read the story. It's a good story. It's pretty sad. I'll spoil that for you. And then it says, here I'll go over the directions and then I'll give you time to work on it on your own. It says, so reread the narrative to answer these text-dependent questions. Write any additional questions you have about the text in your reader-writer notebook. We'll come back to that later. So number 1, reread the opening paragraphs. What kind of work did the narrator and his family do? Cite details from the story that support your answers. You're going to notice it's going to want text evidence. That's going to be an important thing we're working on all year. You can't just say one thing and not have anything to back it up. So that's a little bit different. Sometimes it'll ask you to do inferences, but even with your inferences, which if you remember is like an educated guess, you will still support your inference with textual evidence. So that's always an important thing we got to do. So you'll notice it says it in number 1, and number 2, cite evidence, and number 3, cite evidence. So you'll be able to just type, obviously don't type that, type real words, but type the answer in there. And when you're done with these, as you go through, just make sure that you're saving it by clicking on the little save button in the top left corner. Make sure you're saving it to a place where you know where to get it. So I just would hate for you to do a bunch of work and then close it and then not have saved it. So please remember to save it periodically. For some reason, this isn't a PDF. And PDFs do not automatically save like they do in Word and PowerPoint. I wish they would update that, but for right now it doesn't, so just remember to always be saving. Okay, so that's question number 1. Question number 2 on pages 6 and 7, the page numbers are in the corner. Jimenez describes the family departure. That means where they're when they leave. What do the details of the family's departure help you understand? Cite evidence from the text to support your answer. Number 3. What do the figurative phrase, lump in my throat, in paragraph 12 tell you about the impact of events on the narrator so far in the story? So they're asking you some figurative language here. He had a lump in his throat? Obviously, that's not a literal lump in his throat, so what does that mean, and what evidence can you cite to say why he felt that way? Number 4, revisit pages 6 and 7. What do you learn about the narrator? Cite textual evidence to support your answer. So once again, on page 8, the narrator refers to the garage as home. What actions do the family take to make it a home? What does this tell us about how the family faces change? Okay, so number 6, starting with paragraph 22, the narrator gets ready for school. What kinds of feelings does he have about leaving the family's work and going to school? Highlight the text. Also, there's a highlight feature. You can highlight the text. So I don't think you can see it on mine because I don't have it. But in the top there's a little highlighter, so you can go back and actually highlight the text. So please do that as well. Number 7, reread Highlight the text to help you answer the question. Number 7, craft and structure. Reread page 9. What is the most important episode for the narrator at school? Why is it important? And number 8, how does the ending of this story reinforce your understanding of the life of migrant workers? Cite evidence from the text to support your answer. Number 9, return to the story and review words and phrases that you underlined. So as you went through, you should have underlined any new words or things that helped you understand what the story was. Use these annotations to help work with your class. Unfortunately, hopefully we'll have time to do that when we have our synchronous time together. And then there's a graphic organizer here at the bottom to kind of help you talk about the different parts of a narrative. So in the beginning of the story, then, and on the last one, next, and finally. So you're going to go through what changes the narrator and his family face, the description of the setting, so that's where the story takes place, internal conflict. Internal means inside, external means outside, and conflict means problems. So an internal conflict might be, do I want to tell a lie or do I want to tell the truth? Okay, an external conflict would be, does that big bully, is he going to come and punch me in the face or not? So that would be an external. Internal, inside, external, outside. And then textual evidence to support these things with the dialogue, which is people talking if you need to. Okay, so that's at the beginning, and the next part, and the next part, and then at the end. Okay, so lots of stuff to do here. And we'll talk about this narrative writing prompt. That might be a separate activity, that'll be a separate assignment, so don't worry about this for right now. Okay, so hopefully that helps you get through this assignment. It's a really great story. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.